I'd like to invite Matthew Dolbow, Counsellor for Economic and Social Affairs, United States Mission to the United Nations.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to say a few words today on the occasion of the first International Chernobyl Remembrance Day on the 31st anniversary of the Chernobyl accident. I'd like to thank the chair, as well as Project Chernobyl, Belarus, and all of the member states and officials who are gathered here today. The purpose of this Remembrance Day, as provided in the resolution of the 71st UN General Assembly establishing it, is to raise awareness of the long-term consequences of the Chernobyl disaster, and indeed continuing to monitor and study not only the security of the reactor site itself, but also the health of those affected by the disaster is critical to providing compassionate support. And it increases our understanding of how to prevent future accidents and ensure the safe and secure use of nuclear power as more countries express interest in developing it. The Memorandum of Understanding among the G7, the European Commission, and Ukraine on the closure of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, signed on December 20th, 1995, reflected our commitment to support Ukraine in returning the damaged Unit 4 reactor site to an environmentally safe and stable condition. In the past year, we have achieved the most significant milestone to date in such efforts with the positioning of the new safe confinement over the destroyed Unit 4 reactor in November 2016. Efforts to rehabilitate the site have been and remain a high priority for the United States, and we are committed to seeing them through. The Chernobyl Shelter Fund, or CSF, was set up at the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development in 1997 to fund construction of the confinement structure that encloses the deteriorating Soviet-era sarcophagus hastily constructed after the 1986 accident. 27 countries and the European Commission are contributors to the fund, and the United States is the largest bilateral donor to the CSF and has historically provided 21.8% of the total G7 EU amount that was donated. The most visible project thus far is the Chernobyl New Safe Confinement Structure, which encloses the deteriorating Soviet-era sarcophagus, protects the reactor site from radiological release for the next 100 years, and enables the remote deconstruction of the sarcophagus. Never before has there such a large structure been assembled under comparable circumstances at a heavily contaminated site. And work on the new safe confinement took 6 years to complete. But more challenges remain in securing the Chernobyl plant on a long-term basis. The EBRD nuclear safety account, set up in 1993 at the initiative of the G7 to provide safety assistance to countries operating Soviet-designed reactors, was extended to support Ukraine in 1995. And the NSA is funding construction of the interim spent fuel storage facility, the ISF-2, that will provide dry storage for the more than 20,000 spent fuel assemblies from the 3 undamaged reactors at Chernobyl. The ISF-1 structure, which currently holds the spent fuel, is deteriorating rapidly and must be replaced in order to prevent severe environmental damage or additional radioactive releases. Continued deterioration will eventually lead to the release of radioactive contamination. The delivery of all 231 storage casks needed to store the spent fuel remaining in the plant is scheduled for April of 2019. Funds from the April 2016 Nuclear Safety Account pledge event should be sufficient to avoid premature termination of the ISF-2 project, and would avoid, therefore, a serious safety risk due to the deterioration of the spent fuel rods, which are currently stored in ponds awaiting transfer to a completed ISF-2 structure. All of us here have a vested interest in seeing that these projects are completed successfully. Thus far, the international community under G7 leadership has spent over 1 billion euros for construction and design, in addition to our political commitments and pledges. By confining the aging sarcophagus to protect the surrounding environment and securing the spent fuel, the plant can be decommissioned, putting the most immediate potential hazards of this legacy behind us. And these contributions, as we all know, are extremely important because we are more dependent on nuclear power now than we were in 1986. And today, nuclear energy plays a vital role in meeting and diversifying the world's energy needs. Nuclear energy provides the Ukraine, as an example, with almost half of its energy and can play an important role in member states' plans to meet the Sustainable Development Goals. As we pause here today to reflect on the events of April 26, 1986 and their impact on the people who were affected for the rest of their lives, we reflect too on the commitment of the international community to mitigate the effects of the Chernobyl accident. The renewed commitment of the international community to nuclear safety, as we've been discussing here today, must be an essential part of that reflection if we are to properly honor the memory of the victims of the accident and the heroism of those who lost their lives in responding to it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dolbow.